Hello ladies and mental chain, and welcome to something different today. Today I'm going to be flat out ranting about things I would change in World of Tanks if I would have given the opportunity. So there's going to be no gameplay here, so if you're here for that, then I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. But for the rest of you, 5 things I would change about World of Tanks. Let's go. First off, getting rid of all the terrible bot accounts that you see driving around in this game. And, well, there's a lot of ways you can deal with this. The way I propose is that you make a special queue for very special players, like 46% and below. You get put into special queue, where you get like 50% of the experience that the proper decent players get. And if you actually perform very well in that matchmaking, you can advance back to the regular matchmaking. And I would encourage people to actually fucking learn instead of try to bot their way to tier 9s and 10s. Which is obviously terrible for the game. And let's be real here, if you have some trouble, like, people are like, oh, you are just an asshole calling RD players like cancer. I mean, my friend doesn't have an arm and he plays RD because he can't play anything else. Well, fine, if he doesn't have an arm, I mean, I can understand he'll play worse, so he can enjoy his time more in that matchmaking. I mean, it makes sense, right? If you cannot perform to the level that people would just generally expect from a decently functional human being, then you should not play with the rest of us. I mean, it's a competitive game, just deal with it, right? And of course, it would require money and, you know, resources for wargaming, but hey, they made that fucking Victor guy a billionaire in 5 years. I mean, they're not really investing money in their game, so, you know, maybe you should start now? Like, you can definitely afford it from that billion man. Like, you have money like no tomorrow, so, you know, just put it in the right places, man. So the next thing is pretty self-explanatory. +1, -1 tier matchmaking over the travesty that is +2, -2 tier matchmaking. I don't even know why the fuck the +2 matchmaking is a thing. I mean, being the bottom tier, like a tier 7 in a tier 9 game, is just like you feel worthless. And that's a really terrible feeling to have when you play a game like this. Like, if you just look at this and like, well, yeah, I'll have to shoot that E75 guy like 20 times in the side to kill him, that's a terrible fucking thing to fucking be dealing with. So getting rid of that would improve the consistency of the games you're having. It would make the game more fun, more compelling for everybody involved, really. Like, I don't see any downsides. You could argue that the game is going to be a bit more predictable when you do it this way, but then again, I think you can make the game less predictable in different ways than fucking punishing people for playing their tier 7s and 8s instead of 9s and 10s by making like better maps and shit, you know? So this definitely would be a thing that I would change if I was in charge. Obviously I'm not, but I'm just saying. Next thing also involves numbers. I mean, World of Tanks has 25% RNG. I mean, what the fuck, dude? Competitive game that tries to promote esports have 25% RNG on penetration and on damage rolls and on probably multiple other things that you don't even see that is done behind your back. But anyways, I could say that I don't really mind the 25% RNG on damage. Sure, it can like make some scenarios, well shit, that high roll saved my ass and stuff like that, but it always is at an expense of the other player. But on penetration rolls, that shit is just retarded. I mean, a gun that has 300 pen could roll around like 200. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, if you shoot a Yakpanzer, you expect it to have 300 pen, not 200. With 200, you can bounce the fucking lower plate of an IS-7. And you obviously don't want that. And that doesn't do anyone any good whatsoever. Obviously, along with this category, you could also put in the terrible accuracy nerf that Wargaming did after buffing the accuracy, making the game better. They decided to re-roll the only good thing that they did pretty much in the last 2 years, if you don't count the visual upgrades to the game. The only good thing gameplay-wise they did, they rolled back. Obviously now we have the physics, which is also kind of a cool thing that they did, which I do appreciate, but like, the other cool thing that they did is the accuracy buff, and they made sure that they fucking rolled that shit back, so fuck you and having fun in your fucking medium tanks. Snapshotting with IS-3s, bro, that's where the shit is at. And again, this is another change that would cost Wargaming, like, part of that billion that they make in 5 years. I mean, people would be, you know, inclined to shoot less gold if you had more consistent penetration, if you know what to expect from your shells, and not shoot the Jagdpanzer's 300 penetration shell for 225 penetration and bounce off a fucking front of a Ferdinand. You know, that would hurt wargaming. So another change that would, lesser their profit a bit and maybe, make the game more enjoyable for everybody. And the next one is a big one. So the ammo rebalance, in my opinion, definitely should be done. There should be more interesting mechanics regarding ammo. Somewhat like they're done with the British Hesh, but the British Hesh arguably is overpowered on the tanks that it's really used on. But if you take the Centurion 7.1 for an instance, like the Centurion 7.1 has like 203 pen and does around 500 damage a shot, which is a really interesting way of doing things. The obvious downside to that is that it costs fucking probably like 6k a shell, probably like 4 or 6, I don't remember. But like the price of the shells like that is like way too high. It would be really cool to see ammo like Hesh being used more, and ammo like Heat with like 300 plus pen just do less damage, and cost less, and make the economy of the game more viable, and the choices of ammo just, not all about, well, I have a lot of credits, I'll shoot full Heat now because it's just better. And sure, Heat does have its downsides, like the worse shell velocity, the normalization angles, but still, like, if you have to choose from 200 AP pen or 330 Heat pen, you're probably gonna choose the Heat, even though the enemy target is a bit angled. Sure, you have some other downsides, like not being able to shoot through walls, but I think balancing Heat ammo or the high pen APCR, whatever, like you could do it really well systematically, like just make APCR the standard ammo for most mediums and stuff, and just ignore the historical aspect of the ammunition that was used, and just make your game better instead of like looking at, well, historically the T-54 had like even 400 pen, but since we're such a nice company, we made it only 330, like it actually has any fucking difference. And there could be a lot of interesting ideas you can bring with ammo as well, like for instance, make Heat ammo that has terrible shell velocity, like the British Tier 6 howitzer that you can put on a Cromwell and some other tanks, like make that shell velocity on some Heat ammo, for instance, for a nation. Just pick a nation, make that their Heat round, like super high pen, average damage, like with your AP, the same damage as with AP, but you have terrible shell velocity, while other nations have, for instance, higher shell velocity and less damage Heat. Like, you can do a lot of interesting stuff there, and it wouldn't have to be all the same. You could really make the game better that way. And the biggest part about this, the different ammo types, that there shouldn't be such a massive price difference. I mean, balance the ammo by its characteristics in game instead of their price in garage. That would be the most important thing in this category. And instead of, should I make credits or should I just press 2 twice to shoot the Season E5 and then not be able to repair my tank after the battle? And for the last but not least, obviously we have the artillery. This is the fucking worst game mechanic probably in history of gaming. It is literally ridiculously broken at this current stage of the game. And while I can see why you couldn't remove it, even though it would be best if you would, it would probably cost you too much money. But you should still fucking try to fix it, like seriously. And everybody's always like, well, you always like shit on the artillery, but like what would you do if you had to like fix it? Well, there's a lot of things you can do to make it better. Like first of all, remove the potential of tier 8 artilleries to one-shot tier 10 tanks. I mean, there's no reason S51 tier 7 arty should have average damage of 1850 when like it can face tier 5 tanks. I mean, like Panzer IV has 400 health and you have 1800 damage. Are you fucking serious? Like you can, like, not enough that you can one-shot everything in your own tier. I've seen like S51s fucking be failed platooning in tier 10 matchmaking and killing 50 Bs and shit. Like, how fucking ridiculously stupid is that? Like, I mean, the amount of stupidity in this game mechanic is through the fucking roof. So how do you fix it? I mean, like, nerf the damage per shot maybe? Like, maybe? It's not that bad of an idea. No. Well, introduce Conqueror gun carrier then. That can shoot over cover. Alright, that sounds better. Anyways, so if you have to keep artillery in the game, there's a couple of things you have to achieve with artillery. So first of all, it should not be able to hit moving targets. Like, that should not exist. It should be reduced in reload, and it should be heavily cut down on the damage it does. And it should not be able to hit moving targets. So it would be good against campers. I mean, if somebody is sitting still, he should be punished, right? I mean, that's the idea of artillery. But in real life, it just fucking one-shots medium tanks going 50 on the move and light tanks trying to kill it. So there's a couple of things you can do. So in order to avoid actually being able to hit shots on the moving targets that easily, well, as easily as you can now, you can add like a trigger time. Imagine this situation where you click your mouse button but your shell leaves your barrel after like a second, or a second and a half, or 2 seconds. That could be like vary for tier for gun size and shit like that as well. But like adding that time would make shooting moving targets so much harder, but it would still punish the campers. It would still like punish somebody who's just chilling in the open, and it would do the job. I mean, if they spot somebody that your team can't pen and he's just sitting still, you can kill him with your artillery, and that's how it should work. And if you hit something on the move with like 3 or 4 second time before you fire, and he drives into that shot, you either got really lucky or you actually like, you know, led that shot really well, and it wasn't just like about 1 second that you need to lead, which is, or 1 to 2 seconds, which is not that hard in comparison. Another thing that definitely could be done to improve the life quality of light tanks is, you know, reduce RT's gun depression to like +2 or +3, so the closest RT can shoot on the flat ground could be like 300 meters. And otherwise, like if you're closer than that, then you're in the safe zone from RT, unless they angle their ass up a hill, and then they can't really be as mobile and shoot people trying to kill them with light tanks. Because how often do you see this situation where light tank fucking sprints towards RT, he's trying to dodge it as best as he can, but RT just turns and kills him. I mean, that is just so dumb. Like, light tanks are supposed to counter RT, and if RT gets spotted, it's supposed to die and not kill the light tanks. And in the game at the moment, with the RT being able to turn as quickly as it can, the aiming time being as random as it is, it's just so frustrating to be those light tanks who get punished by this dumbass fucking game mechanic where RT can just turn around and fling a shot in the general direction, and even if it doesn't kill you, it usually tracks you and somebody else gets the kill on you because you become stationary. That should not exist. RT should not, like, sure, maybe 300 meters is a bit too much, but 200 to 250 meters definitely RT should not be able to shoot unless it angles his ass up on a hill, but that makes it far less mobile, and it makes, you know, setting artillery traps like, well, I'm gonna watch this angle and make sure that whoever drives here first will die, but like if they go from the other side, it will take me like a fucking day to get there, so if they flank me, I'm fucked. Unlike now where you can just sit in a bush, spot somebody, kill him, and then fucking drive away easily without, you know, being even worried about your gun depression in the slightest. Or even take a shot from a light tank and then turn and then kill him, because, you know, you can take a shot and easily just, you know, shoot somebody at 100 turn, not aim, and just shoot somebody at like 50 meters easily on a flat ground, because, you know, artillery did that in real life as well, right? And let's be real here, I have no idea. Maybe artillery actually did that in real life, but fuck it. This is a game. Make it fucking good and enjoyable. And don't fucking punish light tanks for trying to kill RT by artillery just killing them. That's just retarded. So in summary, let's summarize this artillery topic here, because it's kind of stretched off and I kind of lost my train of thought a couple of times here. Reduce the damage, almost by a half would be fine. Obviously with increased fire rate, not by a half, but, you know, by like a third, so they're shittier than they are now. But make them a bit more consistent with their aiming and their accuracy, but add that trigger time, which would make it much harder to hit moving targets, like close to impossible, but still punish the campers and, you know, serve the general purpose. Increase the gun depression, increase the gun depression to levels where it cannot shoot within like 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, probably depends on RT and shit as well. And, you know, make light tanks actually able to kill RT instead of the other way around, which is what we see in the game these days. And there's probably many other ways to make this travesty of a game mechanic more enjoyable for the players that are playing it and the players that are on the receiving end of it. And if you have any of those ideas, do share them in the comment section. And if you have any other ideas or any other topics you want to talk about when you talk about improving World of Tanks, do share that in the comments as well. I'll try to read through it. And hope you guys enjoy the rant, and I'll see you on the next one.